News here at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time on September 30th. It is midnight in other time zones. That means that the dock workers have walked out and have closed ports from Maine to Texas, and it is expected to slam the U.S. economy. Port workers were prepared to strike, and they now have officially walked off the job at midnight, October 1st. I was getting ready to go to bed, saw this story break, figured I would jump in and tell you guys what little bit I know about it. So when you wake up to this in the morning, you can start here first. I pulled together a couple little videos, but first, we'll just show you real quick. I don't subscribe to the Wall Street Journal anymore, but uh, here's the quick little story before it cuts off. Dock workers walk out, would close ports from Maine to Texas and slam the U.S. economy. The International Longshoremen's Association, which represents 45,000 dock workers, is pushing for a 77% pay increase. The dock workers are preparing to strike at midnight across dozens of ports from Maine to Texas, threatening to block the movement of a swath of U.S. trade and rattle the American economy and block swath off a U.S. trade. I can't talk today. Let's start over. Dock workers are preparing to strike at midnight across dozens of ports from Maine to Texas, threatening to block the movement of a swath of U.S. trade and rattle the American economy 5 weeks ahead of the presidential election. Well, midnight struck and they have walked off the job. Let's circle back over here to Breitbart. This story's from a couple hours ago, but it kind of gives you a good synopsis. Then I found the video of a girl trying to explain it to people in layman's terms. I think she actually did a really good job. So if you don't necessarily understand what's going on here and you want somebody who can explain it in layman terms, stay tuned for about 2 more minutes and I'm going to transfer over to the other video. But first, my name is Clay Edwards. This is the Clay Edwards Show. You can catch me live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, X. And of course, if you're in Central Mississippi, we're live on the radio, 103.9 FM, WYAB. We are streaming in video on all of those other platforms. As you're watching this video now, please hit like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to join me next weekend at Pearl, Mississippi's City Park for Oktoberfest. That's right, it's Oktoberfest, and it just keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better. And Gumbo Festival, Oktoberfest and Gumbo Festival, October 12th, 2024. There'll be beer, music, food, vendors, car shows, kid zones, and more. And real quick, check out the cash prizes for the Gumbo Cook-Off. First place gets $1,500. Second place, $1,000. Third place, $750. The Main Street Pearl favorite, $500. The most spirited booth gets $250. Man, they are just giving away all Pearl's money. Man, look, going to be a great time. You can't have Oktoberfest without Clay Edwards. I mean, without beer. I'm going to be there broadcasting live. We'll get you the schedule as soon as I know it. I got one event before this one. Then I'll be hauling butt over there. Me and my cohort, Sean Yurkaran, probably going to be broadcasting live around noon. Going to be a great, great day. Mark your calendars now. October 12th, Saturday, Pearl, Mississippi, Pearl City Park, the new remodeled Pearl City Park. It's phenomenal. I spent Pearl Day there. You're going to love it. All right, back to this story. Because, man, with this story rocking and rolling, anything could happen. All right, port workers, prepare to strike as deadline looms closer. This is on Breitbart. Thousands of workers at more than a dozen ports throughout the United States are preparing to go on strike as the deadline for their union and United States Maritime Alliance, USMX, to reach an agreement looms closer. Dock workers with the International Longshoremen's Association, the ILA, who work at roughly 14 ports along the East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico, are set to go on strike as of October 1st if their union and the USMX do not reach an agreement regarding their labor contract, according to the Hill. Roughly 25,000 port workers employed in contain and roll-on, roll-off operations at ports across the U.S. East and Gulf Coast are currently covered under the current agreement, according to the USMX. That's a lot of workers. The ILA is described as being the largest union of maritime workers in North America and represents roughly 85% 45,000 longshoremen located along the Atlantic, Gulf Coast, Great Lakes, major U.S. rivers, Puerto Rico, Eastern Canada, according to Union's website. The report from the conference board found that if the workers do go on strike, it could cause serious economic fallout. Pete Buttigieg, Buttigieg, where you at, Buttigieg? You didn't do shit for them folks up there in Ohio when that East Palestine, Ohio, when that train crashed. What you gonna do to help us here? Guys, before I read any further, stop what you're doing. Of course, keep playing the video. Go stock up on toilet paper and paper towels. You saw what happened with the supply chain last time. Stock up on toilet paper, paper towels. If you have any foreign liquor, foreign beer that you like, I highly recommend stockpiling all that. This could get ugly quick, especially with the hurricane that just hit. It is going to be a shortage like you've never seen. I would get soap, toothpaste, dried goods. You know what I'm talking about. Like it's the end of the world type stuff. I'm not being hyperbolic either. All right, continuing on Breitbart.com. Just a 1 week strike could cost the U.S. economy $3.78 billion, i.e., $540 million per day, the conference board wrote in the report. The report also noted that if the port workers go on strike, it would come at a critical time ahead of the November presidential election as retailers scramble to finish importing inventory to ensure customers are well supplied ahead of the busy holiday shopping season. While President Joe Biden indicated that he would not intervene in the strike under the Taft-Hartley Act, Biden would be allowed to get involved and request an 80-day court-ordered cooling off period, according to The Hill. Ahead of the potential strike, Americans were reported to be stocking up on essential supplies. One person told the outlet that the possible strike had them worried, adding that it was hard to be able to make ends meet as is. Now, a lot of this may sound like Greek to you, because I'll be honest, I don't necessarily understand unions and maritime strikes and all that, but I ran across this little video here on TikTok earlier just by happenstance, and I thought this girl did a phenomenal job of trying to explain exactly what's going on, why it's going on, and who's responsible. This is Lisa Rimarad. I think that's right. Anyway, this is over on her TikTok. This was filmed yesterday. It's about 3.5 minutes long, and it's one of the better listens that you're going to find on the internet on this topic today. So I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let her roll on.
Midnight, about 45,000 union members across 14 ports in the East and Gulf Coasts from Maine to Texas are going on strike. And no matter where you live, this strike will likely impact your everyday life and your wallet. You may also want to stock up on your favorite beer, wine, and liquor. I'll explain why in a second. So first, what's happening? Well, the International Longshoremen's Association, which is the union for port and dock workers, has been in contract negotiations with the United States Maritime Alliance, which represents these ports and mostly international shippers, for months. The union says their dock and port workers are opposed to fully automated practices at ports that would eventually leave their members without a job. And they say their workers deserve a pay raise, especially because of what the union describes as huge profits these shipping companies are raking in. The ILA says those companies want to enjoy rich billion-dollar profits that they are making in 2024 while they offer ILA longshore workers an unacceptable wage package that we reject. Well, these negotiations have now broken down, and as a result, the United States Maritime Alliance filed an unfair labor practice charge against the ILA with the National Labor Relations Board. Basically, they said the ILA was not negotiating in good faith. The Maritime Alliance says, we value the work of the ILA and have great respect for its members. We have a shared history of working together and are committed to bargaining. But there is no bargaining happening right now, and if there is no deal by midnight, as I said, those 45,000 longshoremen will walk off the job. The longshoremen who work on the West Coast are not directly involved in this strike. So what does the strike mean for you? Well, these 45,000 longshoremen work at the ports that handle about half of the imports and exports the United States deals with on any given day. I'm talking about everything from bananas to cars to wine and beer. So if they're off the job, that means all that stuff that usually comes into or out of the United States through those huge shipping containers, through those ports, will at best be delayed and at worst just won't arrive or will just sit at the port and will not be distributed. Now, in anticipation of this strike, for the last few months, lots of this cargo has been rerouted to the West Coast where the longshoremen are still on the job. But there's an issue with that too, because pretty soon there's going to be a backup on the West Coast with all these extra ships and cargo containers, which will likely delay things even further. And here's the thing. Delays cost money, not just for the shipping companies, but for you and me. Remember, it was a breakdown in the supply chain, which is what this would be, that caused that spike in inflation during and after the pandemic. And depending on how long this strike lasts, you may also see price increases because certain goods just won't be available. The American Farm Bureau estimates a strike of this magnitude for agriculture imports alone for just 1 week could cost more than $1.4 billion. And a 1 week strike of agriculture exports could cost about $320 million. The American Farm Bureau says these ports handle more than 75% of banana imports into the United States, 90% of imported cherries, 85% of canned food, and 80% of chocolate. And these particular ports also handle 80% of the imported beer, wine, whiskey, and scotch, and 60% of imported rum. So if you have a favorite imported beer, wine, or liquor, you may want to pick that up while it's still on the shelf.
All right, so I hope she explained it a little bit better than me. I don't know where. Sorry, I have a new camera system here. Let's see here, auto. Stop doing that. There we go. I hit the wrong button. I got a brand new camera system here, man. Big 2 camera gig. We're going to be moving over to the radio studio tomorrow, but I just wanted to test it all here, make sure it worked, show you guys that I can operate 2 cameras. There's looking down another door there. It's going to be phenomenal when we get it moved over to the radio station. Cannot wait. Thanks to the Yurtkaran law firm, Sean Yurtkaran, for believing in what we're doing here and making a hefty technological investment into the show so we can bring you the best version of what we do here. All right, guys, look, I wanted to show you that because, frankly, this is above my pay grade, but I felt it important enough to try to relay to y'all. Hopefully my audience, my niche audience, needed to see that. And you think to yourselves, hey, I need to stock up on some dry goods and a few things that my family and I may need over the next couple of months because it could get pretty stiff out there in the marketplace. I know I will be running and stocking up on paper towels, toilet paper, and some dog food, stuff like that tomorrow. Maybe some whole ribeye, just a few things just to get by. So I know you say whole ribeye, and it sounds like I'm living high on the hog, but man, I can stretch out a whole ribeye more than you can, more than most of y'all can hamburger meat, and for less money, mind you. Eat better, far less. Sign your boy up. Tune into the Clay Edwards Show Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here where you're watching this very video or online at Facebook, YouTube, X, or Rumble. Just search Save JXN, except on Rumble, search Clay Edwards Show. And of course, on the mothership, 103.9 FM, the WYAB in Central Mississippi. Y'all stay blessed, stay safe, and get stocked up now.